What's the deal, y'all? It's Kali the One. I'm back in the building. If you are watching this, please like, subscribe, share, get me in the algorithm, man. Also, if you are watching this, take the time out, head over to the Viral Way podcast, go like, go subscribe, go share, go run us up as well over there. Help us keep the movement moving. Without further ado, I'm gonna get straight into the business. Lately, due to election season, coming to an end very soon. There's been a lot of political news going on, and I'm here to get into that. I want to tap into the election polls right now, as of today, to give you guys a look on or a look at who is leading right now. So let's take a look at that.
News 2 is your local election headquarters. Vice President Harris and former President Trump are making their pitches, especially in the key swing states in the campaign's final stretch. In today's Political Minute, News Nation chief Washington correspondent and moderator of The Hill, Blake Berman, takes a look at undecided voters this year and in past elections.
A month left to go, but who's left to sway? I'm Blake Berman with News Nation. Across the country, Vice President Kamala Harris leads former President Donald Trump by roughly 3%. That's according to The Hill Decision Desk HQ Election Center polling average. Now, that leaves about 3.7% of voters who say they still haven't decided who they're going to vote for. Those undecideds can make a big difference in November. For example, in 2016, most voters picked their candidate by the end of September. But 12% chose in October, 5% in the final week. More early deciders then picked Hillary Clinton, but more late deciders chose Trump that year. In 2020, only 10% of voters picked their candidate late in October or November. And again, slightly more late deciders chose Trump than his opponent, Joe Biden. Now, keep that in mind while we see razor-tight polls. Late deciders could tip the race for either candidate this go around. I'm Blake Berman, and this is the News Nation Political Minute.
All right. So, as you guys saw right there, Kamala is up about roughly 3%, according to The Hill. You also saw, though, and I want people to, keep in mind that within the last two elections, there were 17% of voters who were voting in October, November. 12% of those voters did pick Biden early on, while 5% picked Donald Trump. And my apologies for that. That was for Hillary Clinton. And in the next election, when it was what was that? 8% for Biden, and then 2% for Trump later on in the election season here. One thing, though, that I do want to say also is that that was 17% of voters for Hillary versus Donald. Then you had only, 10% of voters that were undecided for Biden, Donald. Now, when we flash forward to Donald Trump and Biden again, or Kamala, only 3.7% of voters are undecided. So that is a little scary to me, in my opinion, because only 3.7% are undecided, and Kamala right now is up percentage-wise. So that would mean that all 3.7% of people that are left to vote would be voting for Donald Trump, which I don't know how true that is. In my opinion, I think that right now, optics-wise, Kamala is up. She is making her rounds, and what she does is the same thing that every other Democratic candidate does. They attack the youth, they attack the progressive people, and they get in there and they do certain things that get people of those realms looking. One of the things she did was go on All the Smoke with Matt Barnes. It's an HBO podcast. They talk about basketball and other things as well. They were pretty politically charged during the George Floyd, killings and riots. So they've made their stake in the black community to a certain degree, where if you do go over there and it's a good conversation, it could be beneficial to you for the black vote, especially amongst black men and young black voters. So that was a good look. Then she went to the white community and went over and sat with Call Her Daddy podcast, and they talked about abortion and men having control over women's bodies. And so that was also another big, to me, point for her, because again, she's able to go and get maybe the younger progressive white women, the younger progressive white men that might watch that show, and then also draw them in on the basis of, the ban on abortion, or the ability for them to be able to have full control over what they do with their bodies. I think that's a very hot topic. Right now, it's on a state level, right? It's able to be decided how they, want to do what they want to do with that. And in my opinion, I believe that that's fine. I think that if your state says, hey, we don't want to do it, we shouldn't have to do it. If we want to go through with abortion, then we should be able to. I think it should be state by state basis. But Kamala is making her rounds right now with the young folk, which is something that's dangerous. And I think Trump doesn't have the young folk in his bag as much as, a Kamala does, or Obama did, or whoever it was, because of the progressiveness that they have. And I think he lacks that in certain ways. He went on Aiden Ross' stream, and he's also very, he's had the attempted assassinations, 3 of them at this point. And so he's, the court cases and things like that. And so he has his own debacles going on that's making him popular as well with the younger viewers in a different light, right? But right now, Kamala, I think, is leading because of that. Now, that's not to say that she won't lose, because, in my opinion, I don't think she will win. I don't think she's going to get the black male vote for sure when it comes down to it, because I think there's a lot of black men that have a disdain for Kamala Harris. I think a lot of people maybe will remain undecided in this situation, just because of the 2 candidates we have. Again, we have Donald Trump, which, if you're a black American, let's keep it 100. You might not want to vote for him. And if you're a black American and you say, hey, I don't want to vote for Donald Trump, me personally, I'm 100% understand you. I am. Because I can see what would turn him off to black voters. If you're a black voter and you say, hey, I don't want to vote for Kamala Harris, I would 100% understand that as well. Because when you look at both candidates, what have they really done or proposed for black people? Both of them have called for the imprisonment of black men falsely. So he had it with the Central Park 5, and she's had it with false charges or accusations, or under marijuana. So they've both put black men, or called to put black men away falsely, without enough evidence to prove that they were actually guilty. And so they both don't necessarily give a fuck about us. So I hope people really see that. Again, I don't think you should be chastised for any choice that you make. This is America. You should be able to be Democratic if you want, and nobody gives a fuck. You should be able to be Republican, and nobody gives a fuck. But I want for people to still, specifically black people, look at that and be like, yo, both of them called for that. So a lot of people just say, oh, it was just Trump. No, or it was just Kamala. No, it was Trump too. It was Kamala too. They both did it. So when we're looking at that, they both did it. Right now, she's up. Again, I think a lot of people who are undecided will vote in the next 2 weeks. And we'll just have to see that play out, because I don't, again, believe she's going to win under the basis of how she came into the presidency, right? When you really look at it, Kamala, just the way she came in, the lack of, I feel like, information that we have on her and knowledge on her is going to lead those undecided people to lean more towards Trump, unless they're more rhetoric focused. So I don't see her winning. Me personally, I know she's up in the polls right now, but we still got, damn near almost a month, 3 weeks. So anything can happen right now. And I don't know what tricks both of them have up their sleeves media-wise. Kamala, again, though, I did just see there's reports of her supposed to be going on the Joe Rogan podcast. So she goes on there, and he's able to question her freely the way he wants, which I highly doubt he will be able to question her 100% freely the way he wants. I'm sure there will be some sort of script, but if she's able to hold her own on the Joe Rogan podcast and maybe make Joe even feel a certain type of way, then that can be a big point for Kamala Harris. Don't get it twisted. Joe Rogan has the following and, the backing to make sways in an election season easily. If he says something, that's maybe 1 million people. However many people are left voting, that might be the 3.7% that's undecided that says, you know what, Joe Rogan said go with Kamala, that's who we're going with. So I think that if that report is true and she does get in there and she kills it, that's a big point for her. In my opinion, I think it's a bigger point than if Donald Trump goes on there. because I saw reports of him supposed to be going on Joe Rogan podcast as well. And to me, that doesn't do as much as if Kamala Harris goes on there and she kills it. Because we already know what we're going to get between Joe and Donald Trump. You know, Joe is leaning towards the conservative right Republican, you know what I mean, ideologies more so anyway. And with Trump, you know, being who he is and the whole establishment situation that are trying to take him down, I feel like that interview is more of an echo chamber. It's more of a conversation. It's not necessarily a pushback. So there's nothing that's going to be groundbreaking that's going to come from Trump sitting across from Joe Rogan. Let's just keep it 100. I don't see it. I don't see that being groundbreaking. I don't see us getting anything out of Trump that we wouldn't if he was to just go wherever he was to go, right? Whereas in Kamala, that's going to be a difference in ideologies, and he's going to ask her, hopefully he's going to ask her some tough questions that she's going to have to answer in a place that is known to not be as scripted, right, and to not be as censored as all the rest of the platforms that presidential candidates typically deal with. So if she's able to go up there and she's able to kill it, Donald Trump could possibly be in trouble. And I want for people to understand that. Combine that with, the last two elections, it was, again, 17 people or 15% of undecided in late October to November. Then it went to 10. Now it's at 3.7. So only 3.7 are undecided, and they still got a couple tricks up their sleeves. So we should see. We should see. We're going to see it play out. It's going to be interesting to me, and I wonder what tricks they do have up their sleeve. Again, I don't know. I know it still comes down to the Electoral College at the end of the day. So it should be interesting. Next thing I want to get into is Kamala's proposal to black men. So this is something, again, that later on, because when Kamala first was announced as the new presidential candidate for the Democrats, we didn't know anything about her. We didn't know what she wanted to do. We just knew she was the vice president for Joe Biden. We've seen her, be a district attorney. We've seen certain, things that she has contributed to, while her being a vice president. But for the most part, she only came out when it was time to get the black vote in the beginning, and then now when it was time to become the president of the United States. So her plan, in my opinion, it kind of matches up with the platinum plan that Trump had dropped a couple elections back. But I do just want to show y'all what this plan looks like, because it's interesting to me. This is what she's doing. Let's take a look at it. Okay. So Kamala Harris will create an opportunity agenda for black men, provide $1 million or 1 million loans that are fully forgivable up to $20,000 for black entrepreneurs and others, which of course, great with being all inclusive, but I also want for black men and women to see that it's black and others. And again, this is what the Democrats do. This is kind of how the civil rights movement was. It wasn't just for blacks, it was for everybody, right? Which ultimately led us to still be not where we were supposed to, because then there was gray areas and ways to go in between the lines to still affect us in a negative manner. So when you look at provide 1 million loans that are forgivable up to $20,000 for black and others, you look at the credit score, that black Americans have. A lot of us don't have, not me, but a lot of us don't have a 600 or over a 630 or 640. So will they get approved for a $20,000 loan for a business? I don't know. Some others might. Statistically speaking, others and other races have better credit than black people. So is that really something that we can go off of and say, oh my God, you're about to help a bunch of us out? I don't know. I know that we are becoming more entrepreneurship minded. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. And so I don't mind it. It all sounds good on paper, but can we see what it really looks like? Again, with the real stats of our credit scores and other people's credit scores, and who is it really going to benefit at the end of the day? Who's that loan really going to benefit? Right? So then we have the supporting education, training, and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for black men, including pathways to becoming teachers. Now, I think this is a good one, right? I know that Kamala Harris, she went to, I'm not 100% sure the school she went to. I believe she went to Clark. She was an AKA. Her dad is a teacher as well. I believe he studied Marxism. So they are able to go ahead and do that as well. And so, with that one, you see, which I think this one is good because in the last few years, we've seen a lot of, I feel like, situations where maybe a black teacher it might have ended better. I also think a lot of people talk about teachers and black people needing more teachers that look like them within their schools so that they understand where they're coming from and they're able to act accordingly with black kids. And I think that for black men, there's not a lot of teachers, a lot of black men teachers because, in my opinion, we that's an environment that to a certain degree is I think is uncharted territory for a lot of black men being a teacher. We're already seen as a certain way, so I think it's harder for us to get jobs because depending on the way you look, they might think you're more aggressive, right? And they might not want to offer you the job, and then you have to deal with the stereotypes and maybe certain kids and certain things that might happen. I just don't think that, and then also I think that that type of job is you can compare it to corporate in a way where black men have to shuck and jive a little bit. Maybe they have to hide their personalities a little bit and do some turning the other cheek so that they're able to get on with their day. And there might be a lot of microaggressions. And for the pay and what you deal with and the possible consequences, if you get into something with a kid or somebody says something or does something, you might be asked out. So I don't know. Is the risk you know, worth the reward when it comes for black men being teachers? I don't know, but I do know that it would be good to have more black men as teachers. And I do think building our education and having mentorship programs for black men is exquisite. I mean, there's so many black men that grow up without a father figure or a father in a home, and they have to look to certain people. And a lot of times, those people, those men specifically, are negative influences, right? And they have a negative impact on their life, and they lead them down the wrong road. With more mentorships, more education training, we can, have more black men that are in prominent positions or have potential prominent positions that are able to go to the youth and mentor them about these jobs. Not only that, but about emotional control and just how to operate in the world as a black young man, and then transitioning from black young man to a black adult, a black man. So I think that's important for us. We don't have that. Something that we really lack is mentorship. So again, all these look good on paper, and that one I think, is feasible. I think that one you can definitely make happen. You just have to put the money in the right people's pockets to go make it happen as the president. So I do really like that one. Um, because to me, that is what we need. We can talk about the loans and this and that, but if we can have more training opportunities for black men, more teacher jobs for black men, more good paying jobs for black men, then we can boost our economic status. And along with those mentorships, hopefully we can also boost our mental and emotional status as well, and that'll make us more of a productive member of society, and also be able to compete on a more of a level playing field with other races. And so I think that that's why that number 2 one here is a really good one on paper so far. But again, the real reality of it is a completely different thing. Protect cryptocurrency investments so black men who make them know their money is safe. This one's bullshit, straight up. Shout out to 19 Keys. He's super crypto. You got a couple other black people that are black men and women that are big on the crypto thing. I think that was a straight just stereotype because a lot of us talked about it. Crypto's damn near like the new Forex, right? So a lot of black men and women are crypto this, crypto that, Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that. This is the revolution. I'm not knocking nobody that does it. Hey, if you try it and you succeed, more power to you. But I do think that one is completely baseless because, okay, protecting cryptocurrency, great. But how are you going to protect it? What are you going to do? And show us even how that's going to benefit us. Show us the statistics showing the overwhelming amount of black men within cryptocurrency as well. Like, give us more than just protect cryptocurrency investments so black men who, make them know their money is safe. Because that's very vague, okay? Because it could only be out of a million crypto people, or about out of a million people who have crypto, be 100,000 that are black or 1,000 that are black. So how many people are you like helping? What is cryptocurrency really doing? You could maybe be taking that initiative and fixing it and maybe applying it to IT and tech jobs and stuff like that instead of applying that initiative and maybe those funds to cryptocurrency. I don't understand that, right? It doesn't really make sense to me. Sounds like it's a hot topic and something that black dudes be like, oh shit, okay, she's thinking ahead, or that's at least what she's thinking. Because a lot of times I think when Kamala and the Democrats have been trying to win over black Americans and black men, they say things that are in a way cringeworthy that they think is going to hit with us and resonate, but then it doesn't. So I think with the cryptocurrency, that's just one of those things. It doesn't make sense on this list. Launch a national health initiative focused on the illnesses that disproportionately impact black men. Now, this one I like. That's like pancreatic cancer and prostate cancer. These are things that we really suffer from more than other races of men. Now, if we can have a health initiative that is focused on that, which I would hope would mean put more funds towards research, towards treatment, right, towards trials of how to test these treatments and making sure that they are successful to give us a longer lifespan if we do come into contact with these diseases, right, or illnesses. I think that on paper sounds good, but also could possibly be done if they're able to move the funds around the right way. So I do respect that. I do think that um, overall, I would like to see black men take care of their health more, be healthier, live longer, and have more of a quality of life the longer they live. So if we're able to, have these initiatives to, progress in research and treatment, I'm all for that. So this list so far, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, I like 3. So that's 75% so far. Um, let's go to the next one. Legalize recreational marijuana and create opportunities for black Americans to succeed in this new industry. Now, this one I'm torn between because I don't know if it's like the crypto one where it's a cash grab, it's a hot take, an eye popper. That she just knows that, a lot of black Americans do smoke weed. Let's just keep it 100. We don't got to sit up here and lie about that, right? We know that. So again, is this something that she knows Black Twitter is going to take and eat up? Oh shit, she's saying this about weed. Is this the, you know what I mean? Is this cool? Is she cool? Is she on that type of time? Whatever, however niggas are going to react. I feel like to a certain degree, is that what she was getting at when she did it? Then you also have the other side of there are black entrepreneurs that do want to get to the marijuana business and that have been chastised by police departments and law enforcement when it comes to having their businesses. It's been hell, and a lot of them have had to be taken down due to a lot of difficulty when it comes to paperwork and licensing and regulations. They can make it extremely hard. And so if you're able to legalize marijuana where it is not, to the point where we can be chastised all the way by local PD and law enforcement, and that means more black Americans, men and women, are able to get into this field, then that's great because a lot of us went to jail and did a lot of time for petty marijuana charges that really you shouldn't. Nobody should be going to um, jail for smoking weed, and Kamala said that. But the only reason why this is also bullshit is because you put niggas in jail for smoking weed. So in 2024, Kamala is coming out, and this is sometimes this is the problem that I have with Kamala Harris, and this is why the next topic I get into about black men, not really fucking with her. This is a big reason why, because you locked up innocent black men and black men for weed, but now you're saying that, oh, nobody should go to jail for weed. So why didn't you think that back in the day when you locked people up? It just doesn't make sense. It's a flip flop on policies. And so she's not being consistent, and it shows you that she's just doing anything to win motherfuckers over at this point in the election season. Because we know the true her. The true her, she doesn't rock with it. The true her, she puts people away for it. So this is just, again, her getting with the times. I don't think this is something that she really believes or her team really believes, because when they had the chance, they put people away for it for a while. So don't come up here with that bullshit talking about nobody should go to jail for weed, but you put people in jail for weed. Don't make no sense. It's flip flop. That's just what it is. So that one to me, I'm on this list out of five. I'm cool with three. I'm cool with the initiative for the health illnesses. I'm cool with the education, and I'm cool with the loans. I'm cool with all three of those. With the crypto, that's bullshit. That's useless. That was again something to get Black Twitter talking and hopefully get us on her side, specifically Black men. Which is crazy because it's like that's not going to work. You're going to have to show us something else. And then the legalized marijuana, y'all been talking about that for a long time, but again, people are still getting locked up, and you still lock people up because of it. So I don't know what y'all are trying to do, but it's almost like you think that's just going to be enough to do it this late election season. You kind of had your chance earlier on, and years ago, really being a district attorney and amongst other things, and you blew it. So I don't think you're going to get the Black men vote. Not only just because men vote in general, because for one, you're a woman, and a lot of men are sexist and don't believe a woman can lead, and two, because a lot of motherfuckers don't believe that you have Black men's best interest at heart, and that's what I'm going to get into next. So we got another theme coming up right now, and so I want to get into something that I've seen on The View. There was a recent episode, and they were talking about the percentages of people that voted for Donald Trump, and what we need to do to get to them. And so I want to bring that up because that one was crazy, and it shows why we will ultimately be the scapegoat when or if Kamala loses. Right? Nobody else will be at fault but Black men. And I find that interesting. That only we will be at fault if she loses, right? But if she wins, how much you want to bet? We won't be celebrated within that whatsoever. So it's just funny.
At these polls, and we're looking at, but we can't poll people's hearts, and we can't see into people's hearts. And so when we're looking at these polls and we're looking at who is voting for Trump, you've got 53% of white women that voted for him in 2020. We've got to reach those women. We've got to reach those ridiculous, crazy Black men that did vote for Trump. We've got to reach those people. We've got to reach, but we can't poll people.
This is what I'm talking about, man. This right here is what I'm talking about. She mentioned white women. All she said was white women, right? Then she mentions Black men and she throws insults before even saying Black men. This is the shit that I'm talking about. Everybody else can vote for whoever they want to vote for. If you're a Black man and you want to vote for somebody who's not Kamala Harris or not Democratic, then supposedly there's supposed to be some problem with you. You're twisted in the head. You hate yourself. You hate Black women. It can never just be anything else. It always has to be that. We always have to be crazy and deranged because we don't want to vote for this woman. But if white women don't want to vote for her, completely fine. It's because they're sexist, which again, I think that comes into play within this election. It did with Hillary Clinton. But people were saying it's because she's a woman, not because she's Black or because she's a Black woman or because Black men don't, don't like Black women. They hate their moms, et cetera, et cetera. All this bullshit that y'all are spewing because Black men are not enamored with Kamala Harris and they don't believe her and they see through her bullshit. And you guys are trying to chastise us and make us feel bad for not believing in her bullshit. We're being attacked verbally online, on all over social media, and we have been since she became the presidential candidate because we didn't fuck with her. And it's so crazy because if you're Black and you say, hey, I don't want to vote for Donald Trump, nobody is going to question or even ask you as to why. Why don't you want to vote for Donald Trump? I just don't want to. I understand that. Anybody and everybody can understand it if you're Black and you say that. But if you're Black and you say, I don't want to vote for Kamala Harris, why not? Something wrong with you? You like white girls? You hate your mom? Do you even know her policies? You love the white man? You're crazy? You're not smart? You're not intelligent? All these things are come up, and all these questions are asked if you say I don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. Crazy. And I'm going to give you my personal opinion why I'm not voting for it. I'm not voting for Donald Trump either. And yes, I'm going to be a part of the people this year that do not vote. I was going for Vivek and maybe Cornel West. Those are the two people that I like. And neither of them, obviously came out on top because we already know red and blue who's going to be pushed to the forefront, right? I'm not voting for Donald Trump because I don't fuck with him all the way. I just can't. Kamala, the reason why I'm not voting for her is because, again, her history as a DA, and then on top of that, during the whole presidential election, we were under the assumption that, for most of it, we were under the assumption that Joe Biden was going to be, the presidential candidate for the Democrats. So when he's then out of nowhere not, now we have his vice president taking over. There's no process to even pick a new candidate, possibly. It's just her. That's what it is. This is who we have to go with. All the campaign backing and dollars go to her, and this is just who you get. How are we supposed to be okay with that? So from one day it was Joe, and we had a list of his policies, and we knew what he wanted to do, and whatever the case is. As terrible as he was, at least we knew what he wanted to do, and there was a plan, and we had a foresight of what the next 4 years might look like if he was in office, right? Then the very next day, it's Kamala Harris is the candidate now, and this is what it is. We couldn't find anything policy-wise for months on her. Her history as a DA, putting black men away. The fact she was sleeping around to possibly get certain positions. Her I don't want to say her wearing of blackness and sometimes not wearing of blackness. And overall, within the next 2 to 3 months, how are you supposed to give us a plan that's going to take America further in the next 4 years? We haven't even seen you over the course of the last 4 years. And so y'all are trying to make it about race and about black men hating themselves and shucking and jiving for massa and all this stuff. But if you really just look at it, why the fuck would we vote for somebody that from day one into day two is just a whole new person and we have nothing to go off of? It's October 15th and Kamala just dropped a proposal to black men with 5 initiatives on there. And 2 of them, that's complete bullshit. And y'all wanted black men and y'all want black men to vote for her. This is what I understand. Y'all want black men to vote. But then the same niggas that get in office don't do shit for black men. It's crazy. It's like if Kamala loses, we'll be the scapegoat. Right? We'll be the scapegoat if she loses. And I'm okay with that, honestly, because I'm looking at it like, and I want other black men to understand that making no choice is a choice, bro. Don't let the right or the left fool you into saying, well, oh, if you don't vote right, you're a dummy, or if you don't vote left, you're a dummy. No, it's not, because if there's not a choice that I personally feel like I should be able to pick, I'm not going to pick. That makes no sense. We have to stop doing that. I'm not picking Kamala just because she's black, bro. Especially with her track record. So they've already been, since she's became the candidate, they've been rolling out this narrative that it's going to be black men's fault, and it's black men's fault if she loses. And the reason why they're saying we're not voting for her is not because of all the things I just mentioned. It's not because she just came out of nowhere. It's not because she didn't have any initiatives or policies for us besides just up till today. It's not because she put innocent black men away. No, it's not because of none of that. That's not why we don't want to vote for her. It's because we hate our moms, we like white women, and we want to shuck and jive for massa. And we're politically unintelligent. That's the reasoning for why we don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. But it's not. And so I've been tired of going around about as to why I'm not going to vote for her. So I want everybody else that's not going to vote for her standing that, because we know exactly why it is. We don't have enough proof that this lady is going to take us further. Therefore, we're not going to entertain it. Y'all got to get over it. You can't move us and try to manipulate us into voting for somebody. And you're doing all of that. Okay, and then again, we vote for Kamala. Then what happens? We voted for Obama. What happened? He had the I'm the first black person running for president vibe. He had that benefit of the doubt. We gave it all to him. He didn't do the best. He didn't do the worst, but he did do the best. So we've already lost hope in black politicians and, black presidential candidates. Now this girl is coming along. She doesn't get that same benefit of the doubt. She doesn't get the same eyes. We're judging her a little bit harder. And that may be unfortunate for her, but oh well, that's what it is. And for black men, we can't sit here and say, hey, this is something that we rock with. This is something that we want to do. And me personally, I can't do either. They both called for innocent black men to go to jail. Central Park 5, and she put black men in jail innocently and laughed in their faces. From the city, San Francisco. So they both two heads on the same snake, if we being honest. But I for sure don't fuck with Kamala. And y'all gotta understand why we don't. It's not because we crazy and deranged, it's because we don't have enough information. And the I'm a black thing, we already gave that up to Obama. So why would we keep doing that after that? We learned. Okay, that didn't really, we got some Obama phones, what we get. We didn't get that much. So y'all mad about that we don't want to vote for her, and y'all gonna make us the scapegoat. Oh, it's all your fault. Black men are immature. This is the reason why Kamala lost, because they wouldn't get on her side. Or is it that we did not get on her side, or is it that she didn't get us on her side? It's October 15th, and she just dropped 5 initiatives. Like I said, 2 that are complete bullshit. October 15th. This shit ends in November. She has not tried for us as black men. The problem with Kamala Harris and the Democrats is they expect black men to vote for them just because of the civil rights movement. That's where we're at right now with Democrats. Democrats think because they gave us the civil rights movement and they passed that and put that into office, that's enough for us to just be cool with being blue forever. And it's not. It's not enough anymore at this point. We have woken up and we see that things are bigger than race. It's more of a class situation, and we understand the economy more. And we're reading more. And so we're not just still living in civil rights times where we say, okay, the Dems are all good. So anybody that comes along that's black must be my friend. We're not thinking that no more. And the Democrats still have not caught on to that. And so the same party that's for us is bashing us and chastising us to vote for them. It's like you catch more bees with honey than vinegar. And that shows their true colors right there, because they're spoiled, because they're used to getting the black vote. And if they can't get it, specifically the black men, then what do? They're going to chastise you until you feel like you have to do it. This is what they did with C19. They chastise you until you have to do it. They chastise you into it. I'm disappointed in you into it. This is what Kamala, this is what Barack Obama, this is what they're trying to do. Black men, stay strong. Don't fall for it. If you feel like you don't want to vote for either, don't. If you feel like you want to vote for Trump, do it. If you feel like you want to vote for Kamala, do it. But do it off the basis of what you think, not what somebody else is telling you, or because black women or social media is telling us that we're less of men if we don't vote for Kamala Harris. It's like the talking points are absurd as to what we are if we don't vote for her. That alone is me. I'm not going to vote for you. I'm not. She didn't do enough work to get us in there, man. She did not do enough work to get our vote. And I think she knows it. That's why she's coming out and trying to do this tour right at the end. She's giving it all she has. She's on her last leg, but she's not getting the black men vote. I'm not rocking with it. I don't know if y'all are, but I'm not. But yeah, man, that's it. Without further ado, again, if you guys are watching this, man, like, subscribe. Thank you for the love, for the hate. It's all support. I'm Collie the One. I don't know where y'all are going, but you got to get the hell up out of here.